to analyze the topic. We are joined by dog trainer Dennis Urrutia, whom we welcome here at 24/7. Thank you so much, Dennis, for being with us. Why are dogs superior to humans? They can locate the bodies of individuals.
Well, first of all, remember that dogs have an incredibly developed sense of smell, much more than humans. Dogs can smell from far away. They can locate. Some tracking dogs can find people after 4 or 5 days, such as bloodhounds. Dogs have a super developed sense of smell for this work.
In fact, there are areas in North Carolina where the mud reaches rescuers up to their knees. These conditions allow dogs to work better, or if the bodies are not buried.
Well, remember that if a dog is buried or there are odors, they often use placenta to train the dog, which is almost the closest thing to a dead body. They also use live cadavers, So the dog learns to detect living people and if not, a corpse as well. They use placenta, and what the dog does is come. It's practically all a game, and the dog comes once it finds it. Rewards are given, or it's practically a game, and the dog often alerts by barking aggressively, vocalizing in various tones, and then the dog, once that happens, receives a reward. Then they search for the person in the areas where the dog is barking.
And you, as a trainer, the dog obviously has to be with the trainer at all times during a search like this. But can you talk a bit more about the breed of dog used for these searches and this work? And how long can they work as a team during a search, for example?
Well, look, the breeds commonly used can be Labrador, Golden Retriever, Belgian Malinois, and Belgian Shepherds, which have incredible endurance. They withstand heat well, okay? So in those trainings, some dogs can last depending on the climate, okay? If it's cold, they last longer in cold. In heat, some dogs last 2 or 3 hours. They need breaks and they work in teams, usually 3 to 5 dogs. It depends on how many dogs are working. They work in teams, but they need their rest, and it can be 2, 3, or 4 hours, depending on the climate.
And what are, speaking of that weather, the most inhospitable conditions where a dog can find a corpse?
Well, look, the difficult part, at least where there's mud, corpses also in the water. They are also looking for corpses in the water. If it has rained a lot for several days, it will be very difficult. It can be done. But many times with rain, the scent is lost. The fresher the scent is, the better it is near the surface. The deeper it is, the harder it is. The deeper it is buried, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 feet, it's more difficult. Unless there are smells of clothing on the surface, at least from humans, there could also be bones, pieces of bones, all of that.
It is a very critical situation being experienced in those states affected by Hurricane Helene. May I ask you, from your experience or an example of a rescue you've carried out that was specifically caused by a natural event, how have you or your trained colleagues experienced this situation?
Well, I have done many trainings with some, what is called police teams. I have done trainings. I have done quite a bit of instruction, but there are different types. Many times when they are local, practically an example, the K9 section of the firefighters does that. I'm a civilian and I train the dogs. I work for all kinds. We do a lot of different types of training, but it's something I do separately. What is rescue training? But I instruct quite a bit. Now that I am practically in action, doing it, I have practiced it, but what I do is a lot of instruction. that work is mainly given to police agencies and firefighters, who are the ones who need to be more authorized. Now, when independent companies call, like mine, that don't have enough dogs, I have a dog that can do the job. Obviously, as a civilian, I can go help, like the case in Miami when one of the buildings collapsed. There were many dogs and many collaborations from different people who went, who had experienced dogs and went, but that's all. If they call you with their permission, as a civilian, you can assist them.
How interesting. Well, thank you very much to canine trainer Dennis Urrutia for being here live with us, and thank you for the work
Thank
you
you
are
very
doing.
much. Thank you. Thanks.